Hello and welcome back to the Cricket Nerds podcast. It is me, James, and I'm joined with Zach. And today we're going to be talking about the India versus South Africa first T20 game result. It was a very good game, actually. Very high scoring. Zach, I understand you saw approximately 0 balls. So you're going to be working on stats here. Pure stats and pure scorecard, which is what we love to see. So I'd like to get a general feel of the game from you, and then I will add the intangibles that I saw through my optic span and took into my heart, such as the feelings that Rassie van der Dussen gave me, and the awe that I felt for David Miller. Just things like that you can't quite get from the numbers. So talk us through India's, or just what you thought of India in general.
Well, just to start things off, I saw your preview. You and Ben did a little preview about this series, and you both predicted India to win 3-2. Now, in the comments of that video, I commented saying that I think that South Africa are going to win 3-2 or just win the series. And my reason for that is because, to me, South Africa look more like a settled team. Everyone knows their role a bit better than India's. Even though I would say that India have more talented players, I think South Africa have their balance right, and India is still looking for a few players. And we saw that today in that KL Rahul, for a start, wasn't playing, although he was in the squad. Ishan Kishan and Ruturaj Gaikwad, both very good young Indian players. Shreyas Iyer is coming off the back of a not very good IPL. So there's a few players in there who are inexperienced or haven't necessarily been in good form. And I think that kind of showed in India's innings, although they did bat very well to get 211. Obviously, I didn't watch the innings to see how they went about it.
This is where feelings come in. And this is something I can offer to the table. So, it was a very good start, actually. Ishan Kishan was kind of struggling to get away. Like, his first few runs just sort of came from like edges to the boundary. So they got quite lucky with that. It was a very fast outfield, as you can imagine, for both teams. Well, for over 420 runs to be scored on the day. Ishan Kishan, but he capitalized on that sort of good fortune and he started ramping up through the gears. Shreyas Iyer started off very fast, and then he kind of got bogged down with the spin a bit. He then struggled a little bit. And then, the finishers they had in Rishabh Pant and Hardik Pandya did amazingly. Like, Hardik Pandya in particular is just carrying on his form from the IPL. And it was very impressive. But I do agree with what you're saying that all of these, it is in a way an India B team, or it's an India just exclusive white ball team. They've got so many talented players. They could afford to have 3 first teams that could all win like any game at any given time. That's the thing. Like, even if it's, you could call this the weak India side, it's not a weak side at all. No. It's very, very strong.
I also think that India's didn't really have their, like, Hardik Pandya was batting at 5. He did the finishing role, which in the IPL he didn't do that. He played the anchor role, so he kind of went back to his old role of finishing, which worked well. But then they had Dinesh Karthik, who is in for his finishing and wasn't really needed. Now, if you look at the rest of India's batting lineup, with Axar Patel coming in at 7, he's a good bat, but he's not a big hitter like you're used to seeing some of the Indian players. And then you've got Harshal Patel coming in at 8. So it's a long tail, I'd say. I think it would be more effective. The India team will be more effective if they lose a few early wickets. Having someone like Hardik Pandya coming in at 5 is actually really good for them, because he's got that cool head. He's able to play the situation well. So I think, although their balance might be different to what they're used to, you've still got the players there for the situation. So, I think it was their bowling from the stats is what let them down.
Yeah, definitely.
And I've talked about players not being in their usual place for the IPL, and David Miller fit in where he usually bats in the IPL at number 5. But then Dwayne Pretorius, were Chennai Super Kings missing a trick or something?
Honestly, I thought it was actually quite inspired. So Bavuma sort of threw his wicket away, just nibbling at one outside off. It was a very nothing shot. Saying that, it was an incredibly good ball from Bhuvaneshwar Kumar to get him out. So it was like a leg cutter. So it was a lot slower, which had Bavuma kind of reaching forward for the drive, but it also actually nipped off a bit, like a small leg break, which took the edge. So I was very impressed with that little bit of bowling, because I'm a Bhuvaneshwar fan. I really enjoy watching his bowling. And yeah, that was a good wicket. But then, yeah, when I saw Pretorius walking out, I was like, this is interesting. But in a way, it actually made their batting a little bit deeper, because on face value, it was a very long tail, because Pretorius is officially a bowling all-rounder, and usually we see him at 7 at the highest. But yeah, today he was in at 3, which then meant that, Tristan Stubbs was in at 6, who officially can bat. I've only ever seen him get 2 runs, but I've only ever seen him play 2 games. And then Wayne Parnell, who can kind of hold a bat, but not for very long. So yeah, I thought, to say that they had a very short batting lineup, everybody kind of did their job, apart from Bavuma, really. But yeah, like Quinton de Kock and Bavuma kind of struggled to get away that much. And then, I want to talk about Rassie, because at one point, Rassie van der Dussen was on 30 off 32 balls, and like the asking rates shot right up. David Miller was just teeing off the whole time.
He's in amazing form, isn't he? It's ridiculous form of his life, really.
And I almost can't break it down, because it's too impressive. Like, I think the one thing that is the real highlight for David Miller is his the way he plays spin. That's absolutely stand out at the moment, because just as soon as any spin comes on, it gets demolished. And yeah, like we saw Yuzi Chahal going at 12s and over, not picking up a wicket, which is kind of unheard of. Axar Patel also getting smacked around. So David Miller against spin is amazing. But David Miller soaked as much of that pressure as he could, but it was still building. But then Van der Dussen, he's trying to hit the skin off these balls. Like, he's absolutely going for it. He splits his bat vertically down the middle, trying to hit one so hard, gets the new stick, and suddenly he's a new man, because he hit, I think his release shot was probably the flattest 6 of a long time. It was like outside off, and he almost swept it, flat 6. And after that, he did a bit of a Rahul Tewatia, which I think is what David Miller wanted. He missed his old Gujarat mate, and they just did what Gujarat did in the IPL, which was too much for the India bowlers. India's bowling though.
Yeah, there's nothing standout, is there, other than Avish Khan going at less than 9 and over. There's nothing there where I'm like, oh, I would have liked to have seen them bowl, like to have seen that spell.
Yeah, and really, you can't compliment over 9 and over, can you? Or no, under 9 and over. It's like, oh, well done.
I guess Harshad Patel bowling at the death. We've seen him go for runs in the IPL, but he's been effective at the death. I'm not sure, but at the same time, they lost, so he wasn't that effective. It wasn't. I can't see much good from bowlers from either side, really. It was a day to be a batsman. But just a comment on two South African batsmen, one on Rassie van der Dussen. Obviously, I didn't see his innings, but when you're saying he's on 30 off 32, and then he gets 75 off 46, he's the sort of player that if he was out for 33 off 34 balls, you would have said he lost them the game because he took up too many balls. But he's that sort of player that will take a while to get going, but when he gets going, he will soon push up that strike rate to a match-winning performance. It's like a Kohli style player or a Duplessis style player, and there's many others who are like that. And like I say, when it comes off, it's really effective and it's match-winning. When it doesn't, if you lose your wicket at the wrong time, you're like, he's lost in the game. I guess Care Rahul's another version of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And the other player, if you're making a point on that, or
well, yeah, I was just going to say that one of the big things that he did was he took it deep, and that's kind of like the Dhoni mindset of finishing, because you can't get the runs if you're out. Nobody makes runs if they're sitting on the backside in the pavilion, and that was the difference. Like, even though he was, I think actually the knowledge that he was the last recognized bat other than Tristan Stubbs, kind of helped him, because it meant that he knew he had to hold on to his wicket, and he also kind of had faith in himself that he could hit himself out of that low strike rate. And to face 32 deliveries and be batting at a strike rate of sort of in the 90s, to then end up with a strike rate of 163
crazy,
off only 46 deliveries is absolutely outstanding. And I think he if David Miller wasn't the man of the match, it would definitely be Rassie van der Dussen. And just outstanding. And it was one of those heartwarming things, because you could tell he really wanted to try and kick on. He didn't want to be sort of the other guy that was like taking 2 balls to get off strike and then get Miller back on.
Yeah.
You could tell he wanted to help out, and to actually see him then be able to and get over the line, it was wholesome. So I was happy for him.
And you also mentioned Tristan Stubbs, and here's the other guy I was going to mention, because to be picked up in the IPL and play for Mumbai Indians, who have a very good scouting network, you must be doing something good in the domestic level. To play for your country, it takes a lot. He's only 21. He's a young guy. He's a wicketkeeper, because usually South Africa have picked Heinrich Klaasen, who's done okay for them over the years. And just looking at his, this was his first 2020 international. This was his debut match. And his domestic T20 record, he's got an average of 33, and he's striking at over 150. And that's in 20 matches. So I'd love to see footage of Tristan Stubbs. Maybe I'll go look at some after this game, just to see what he's doing right, because he didn't really impress in the IPL, but he didn't get to play much in the IPL. But it'll be good to see what he's like in 2020s in terms of his batting, and see why he's getting picked, because South Africa are producing some really good 2020 players at the moment. Like Devol Brevis.
Exactly, like the fact that Stubbs got the nod over Brevis kind of must show that he is, a couple of years older, but he must be showing some amazing promise, because I thought Brevis would be the kind of the person that they could get in, because he's got all this potential and he's a young up and comer. So, I want to see him do well. But so you still think that South Africa are going to win 3-2?
Yeah, I think, well, especially now they're 1 up, 2 off the last 4. But you can never write off India. But I do think South Africa. Another thing is just that South Africa also, I know it's going back to Tristan Stubbs, but South Africa are known for sticking with the same player over a while who's absolutely useless. I'm thinking Bihardian in the past. He was a bit useless, and they just kept with him. They have a history of doing that with some players. So I don't know if Tristan Stubbs is another one of them, but we'll see.
Hopefully not.
No.
Yeah, he's only young, so we can't write him off just yet.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, thank you very much for watching. And if you watched this far in the video, what's the hashtag, Zach?
It's #BringBackAB.
#BringBackAB. I don't actually think anybody used the hashtag last episode.
That's okay.
So it meant that nobody watched that far, but hopefully you watched this far. And if you did, leave that hashtag #BringBackAB. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, like. We will be covering all these cricket games. I don't know what I was saying there. The whole series. That's what we'll be doing. So join us along for the ride, and follow our social medias. We are at Cricket Nerds Pod. You can also listen to our podcast on all the best podcasting websites. And other than that, thank you very much for watching. we'll be back again to talk about other things.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Bye.